Your body knows the path of deep regeneration. Your cells carry the memory of ancestral rest. But something between your mind and your flesh blocked the passage. This prayer undoes this blockage. It reconnects your nervous system to the primordial rhythm that governs the sleep of all living beings. It dissolves the hypervigilance that keeps you in perpetual alert. It reactivates the hermetic codes of conscious surrender. Under the wisdom of Thoth, sleep reveals itself as it has always been. Sacred descent into the cosmic womb where everything is restored. Silence your mind. Receive. I arrive at the threshold of stillness. I stand before the temple of sacred rest. I open my being to the presence that guards the mysteries of sleep, to the wisdom that governs the rhythms of awakening and surrender. I call upon the keeper of cosmic cycles. I invoke the scribe of eternal laws. I acknowledge Thoth, guardian of the night's passage, master of the silent regeneration that occurs when consciousness withdraws from the visible world. I place myself before this ancient intelligence. I bow before the law that commands the body to release its hold on waking life. I recognize that sleep is not an absence, but a return, not a void, but a sanctuary, not a collapse, but a deliberate crossing into the realm where healing moves through every layer of my being. I declare my intention to remember what sleep truly is, to reclaim its sacred function, to restore the divine architecture of rest that was written into my system long before I learned to resist it. I acknowledge that I have forgotten how to sleep as the ancients slept, how to surrender as the wise surrender, how to descend into the depths without fear, without clinging, without the noise of a mind that refuses to be still. I confess that I have carried the weight of the day into the sanctuary of the night. I have brought my tensions, my unresolved conflicts, my racing thoughts into the space that was meant for dissolution. I have treated sleep as a functional necessity rather than a spiritual practice. I have measured it, controlled it, demanded it to fit my schedules, my anxieties, my relentless need to remain in control. I come now to undo this forgetting. I arrive at the gates of the night with reverence. I understand that sleep is a return to the source, a nightly death that prepares the resurrection of each dawn. A surrender that is not weakness but profound trust in the invisible forces that sustain all life. I acknowledge that the body knows how to rest when the mind stops interfering, that the spirit knows how to journey through the inner realms when I stop forcing it to remain tethered to the surface world. I declare that tonight, I will not fight this ancient rhythm. I will not drag my resistance into the bed. I will not armor myself against the vulnerability of sleep. I open to Thoth, the one who scribes the dreams of gods and humans alike, the one who holds the map of the unconscious territories I will traverse, the one who watches over the threshold between waking and sleeping, ensuring that what needs to dissolve does dissolve, that what needs to heal does heal, that what needs to be revealed does come forward in symbol and vision. I trust this intelligence. I surrender to this guardian. I place my restless mind, my exhausted body, my fragmented energy into the care of this cosmic architect who knows how to rebuild what the day has dismantled. I recognize that I have lost the art of preparing for sleep as a sacred act. I have treated it as an afterthought, a collapse, an escape. But sleep is not escape, it is initiation. Each night, I am invited to pass through the veil, to release my grip on identity, to dissolve the boundaries of self, to enter the formless realm where the deeper layers of consciousness can do their work without the interference of the waking ego. I honor this passage. I prepare for it with intention. I create within myself the conditions for true rest. I soften the edges of my being. I release the urgency that has defined my days. I let go of the need to solve, to fix, to achieve, to control. I call upon the wisdom that governed sleep in the ancient temples, the understanding that rest is ceremony, that the body is altar, that the night is teacher. I remember that in the mystery schools, sleep was not taken for granted. It was cultivated. It was honored as the time when the soul could commune with higher dimensions, when the physical vessel could be cleansed by forces beyond conscious will, when the energetic body could be recalibrated to the frequencies of universal law. I reclaim this understanding. I return to this reverence. I stop treating my body as a machine that should function regardless of how I treat it. I acknowledge that the body is intelligent, that it speaks to me through fatigue, through tension, through the inability to rest, and I have not been listening. I listen now. I attune myself to the wisdom embedded in my cells. I recognize that every part of me is longing for the permission to release, to soften, to let the day fall away like a garment no longer needed. I grant this permission. I speak it into my nervous system. I declare it to the places within me that have been holding on for so long, they have forgotten how to let go. I tell my body that it is safe to rest, that it is safe to stop defending, that it is safe to descend into the darkness without fear of what might happen if I am not constantly vigilant. I acknowledge the layers of conditioning that have made rest feel dangerous, the belief that I must always be productive, the terror of stillness, the association of vulnerability with weakness, the fear that if I truly let go, something terrible will happen. I see these patterns clearly. I name them. I recognize them as distortions of a culture that has forgotten the sacred necessity of doing nothing, of being held by forces larger than individual will, of trusting the intelligence that moves through all living systems when we stop interfering with it. I dissolve these patterns. I release them into the care of Thoth, who understands that true power is not control, but alignment with natural law. I prepare now to receive the codes of restorative sleep, the transmission that will remind my body how to rest as it was designed to rest. I open the channels within me that have been closed by stress, by overstimulation, by the constant bombardment of information and demands. I create space. I create silence. I invite the sacred rhythms to return. I align myself with the cycles of day and night, waking and sleeping, expansion and contraction. I remember that I am not separate from these rhythms. I am an expression of them, and when I honor them, I honor the cosmic intelligence that created me. I step away from the noise of the surface world. I release my grip on the events that define this day. I allow them to fall behind me like footprints in sand that the tide will wash away. I acknowledge that I have been holding conversations that are already finished, replaying moments that have already passed, anticipating futures that do not yet exist. I see this clearly. I witness the mind's refusal to be present, its addiction to the past and the future, its terror of the now. I release this pattern. I withdraw my attention from the endless loop of thought that has kept me anchored to a reality that no longer serves my rest. I declare my departure from the world of doing, from the identity I wore throughout the day, from the roles I played, the masks I maintained, the versions of myself I presented to others. I set them down. I remove them one by one. I acknowledge that they are not who I am. They are constructs, necessary for navigation of the waking world, but irrelevant in the sanctuary of sleep. I do not bring them into the sacred space of rest. I leave them at the threshold. I enter this space naked of pretense, stripped of performance, free from the exhausting labor of being someone. I turn my awareness inward. I move my attention from the external landscape to the internal realm. I shift from the horizontal plane of activity to the vertical axis of depth. I descend. I go beneath the surface chatter, beneath the reactive patterns, beneath the automatic responses that have governed my waking hours. I sink into the layers that are rarely accessed, the places within me that hold silence, that remember stillness, that have never been disturbed by the chaos of the world. I find these places. I dwell in them. I allow them to expand. I disconnect from the concept of time as linear progression, from the tyranny of clocks and schedules and deadlines. I step outside the construct that insists there is always something that needs to be done, always somewhere I should be, always a reason to remain tense, alert, prepared for the next demand. I release this false urgency. I recognize it as a program that has been running without my conscious consent, a belief system that equates rest with laziness, stillness with stagnation, surrender with failure. I see through this deception. I reject its authority over my nervous system. I reclaim my right to be still without justification. I dissolve the boundary between self and environment. I stop defending my edges. I soften the armor I have built around my being. I allow the walls to become permeable. I breathe out the tension that has crystallized in my shoulders, my jaw, my belly. I invite it to leave. I give it permission to dissolve. I do not need it here. I do not need to protect myself in this space. There is nothing to defend against, no threat to anticipate, no danger to prepare for. I am held. I am safe. I am surrounded by the intelligence that sustains all life. I enter the temple of my own interior, the sacred chamber that exists beneath thought, beneath emotion, beneath the endless noise of the conditioned mind. I find the door. I pass through it. I leave behind the world of language, of concepts, of explanations. I move into the realm of pure presence, of wordless knowing, of silent witnessing. Here, there is no need to understand, no need to interpret, no need to make sense of anything. I simply exist. I simply am. I rest in this beingness without trying to name it or capture it or hold on to it. I acknowledge the voices that want to pull me back, the thoughts that insist this moment requires my attention, the impulses that suggest there is something I forgot to do, something I should be worried about, something that demands immediate resolution. I hear them. I do not engage. I allow them to arise and pass like clouds moving across an empty sky. I do not give them my energy. I do not follow them into the labyrinth of mental proliferation. I remain centered. I remain still. I watch them from the place that is untouched by their movement. I release the need to be in control, to manage outcomes, to orchestrate the details of my existence. I recognize that this need has been exhausting me, draining my vitality, creating a constant state of low-grade stress that has made rest feel impossible. I surrender this burden. I place it into the hands of the invisible intelligence that moves the planets, that pulses the heart, that coordinates the trillions of processes occurring within my body without any conscious effort on my part. I trust this intelligence. I yield to it. I stop trying to do its work for it. I create space within myself for the silence to enter. Not the silence that is merely absence of sound, but the silence that is presence, the silence that is alive, the silence that is the ground of all being. I invite it to fill me, to saturate every cell, to wash through the corridors of my mind like a cleansing flood. I welcome this silence. I do not fear it. I do not try to fill it with distraction or entertainment or compulsive activity. I let it be. I let it do what silence does. It reveals what has been hidden beneath the noise. It brings me home to myself. I return to the center, the still point, the axis around which everything revolves but which itself does not move. I find this place within me. It has always been here, waiting, unchanged by the turbulence of my days, untouched by the dramas I have lived through, constant, eternal. I anchor myself here. I root myself in this unchanging ground. I recognize that this is where transformation begins, not in the whirlwind of activity, not in the constant striving, but in the absolute stillness of the center. I rest here. I breathe here. I prepare here for the journey into sleep. I awaken the mind that exists beyond the mind. I activate the intelligence that preceded thought. I call upon the consciousness that observes all mental activity without being defined by it. I invoke Thoth, the architect of cosmic law, the scribe who recorded the principles that govern all manifestation. I align myself with the wisdom that understands sleep not as unconsciousness, but as a shift in the quality of awareness, a transition from one state of mind to another, a movement from the external focus of waking life to the internal landscape where deeper truths reveal themselves. I recognize that the universe is mental, that all reality begins as vibration in the field of infinite consciousness, that what I call the physical world is a precipitation of thought held at specific frequencies. I understand that my struggle with sleep is not a physical malfunction, but a mental pattern, a vibration I have been sustaining through repetition, through belief, through the stories I tell myself about my inability to rest. I see this clearly now. I acknowledge that I have been creating my sleeplessness through the quality of my thinking, through the frequency I maintain, through the mental loops I run night after night. I invoke the principle of mentalism, the first law inscribed in the halls of ancient wisdom. All is mind. The universe is a mental creation, and so is my experience of rest or restlessness. I declare that I now shift the mental foundation upon which my sleep is built. I withdraw my agreement with the thoughts that insist I cannot rest. I dissolve the mental architecture that has been generating tension, anxiety, vigilance. I recognize these as patterns of vibration that can be changed, not through force, not through willpower, but through alignment with higher law. I call upon the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. I understand that my inner state determines my outer experience, that the quality of my sleep reflects the quality of my inner peace, that the chaos in my mind during the day creates the chaos in my body at night. I see the correspondence. I witness the mirror. I acknowledge that if I want to change my sleep, I must first change the vibrational signature I carry throughout my waking hours. I must address the source, not merely the symptom. I activate the principle of vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. I recognize that sleeplessness is a state of high-frequency agitation, a vibration of alertness, of readiness, of defensive preparation. I understand that sleep requires a descent in frequency, a slowing, a softening, a release of the rapid oscillations that define the waking state. I consciously lower my vibration. I attune myself to the slower rhythms. I match my frequency to the cadence of deep rest. I allow my entire being to downshift from the racing speed of day to the gentle pulse of night. I invoke the principle of polarities. Everything has its opposite, hot and cold, light and dark, waking and sleeping. I understand that these are not separate states, but two ends of the same spectrum. I have been resisting one pole while clinging to the other. I have been trying to remain in a constant state of wakefulness, even when my body needs to descend into rest. I release this resistance. I honor both poles. I recognize that sleep is not the enemy of productivity, but its complement, that rest is not the opposite of achievement, but its foundation. I move freely between the poles. I trust the rhythm that carries me from one to the other. I call upon the principle of rhythm. Everything flows. Everything has its tides, its seasons, its cycles. I acknowledge that I have been fighting against the natural rhythm of rest and activity. I have been trying to maintain a constant state of doing, of producing, of being available. I have ignored the body's need for cyclical withdrawal, for regular return to the depths, for the rhythmic alternation between expansion and contraction. I surrender to this rhythm. I stop resisting the tide that pulls me toward sleep. I allow myself to be carried by the natural current that governs all living systems. I activate the principle of cause and effect. Every effect has its cause. Every condition I experience is the result of causes I have set in motion. I recognize that my sleeplessness is not random. It is not punishment. It is not a flaw in my design. It is the effect of specific causes, patterns of thinking, habits of tension, emotional holding, mental resistance. I see these causes clearly. I take responsibility for them. And I understand that by changing the causes, I change the effects. I am not a victim of my inability to sleep. I am the creator of my experience. And I now choose to create differently. I invoke the principle of gender. Everything contains both masculine and feminine qualities. The masculine principle of action, of assertion, of will. The feminine principle of receptivity, of surrender, of allowing. I recognize that I have been operating primarily from the masculine pole, pushing, striving, controlling. I have forgotten the feminine art of receiving, of opening, of letting be. Sleep requires the feminine principle. It cannot be forced. It cannot be achieved through effort. It must be allowed, received, welcomed. I activate this principle within myself. I balance the masculine and feminine. I bring them into harmony. I acknowledge Thoth as the keeper of these laws, the one who understands that transformation occurs not through violation of cosmic principles, but through alignment with them. I place myself under the governance of these eternal truths. I surrender my personal will to the higher will that moves through all things. I recognize that when I align with these principles, sleep becomes effortless, natural, inevitable. I do not need to make it happen. I need only to remove the obstacles I have placed in its path. I need only to stop interfering with the intelligence that knows exactly how to restore my body, my mind, my spirit. I declare myself a conscious co-creator of my reality. I understand that every thought is a seed. Every belief is a blueprint. Every vibration is a signal that calls forth corresponding experiences. I now plant the seeds of deep rest. I establish the blueprint of restorative sleep. I emit the vibration of peace, of trust, of surrender. I align my entire being with the frequency of regeneration. I know that the universe will respond. The law will fulfill itself. What I set in motion through conscious intention will manifest in my experience. I become the embodiment of restorative sleep. I merge with the frequency of complete regeneration. I dissolve into the vibration that heals. I am not seeking sleep. I am becoming sleep itself. I am the soft descent into darkness. I am the surrender that allows the body to remember its original wholeness. I am the space where all systems recalibrate, where all burdens dissolve, where all fragmentation returns to unity. I vibrate at the frequency of deep restoration. Every cell in my body attunes to this signal. Every fiber of my being aligns with this truth. I descend now into the sacred depths where true rest lives, not the shallow rest of exhaustion. Not the fitful rest of a mind that never fully releases, but the profound rest that reaches the core, the rest that penetrates bone and marrow, the rest that saturates the nervous system with stillness, the rest that allows the body to perform its nightly miracles of repair and renewal. I sink into this depth. I do not hover at the surface. I do not resist the pull toward the bottom. I trust the descent. I welcome it. I give myself to it completely. I feel the quality of restoration moving through me. It is not passive. It is not mere absence of activity. It is an active intelligence, a purposeful force, a sacred technology embedded in the design of my being. During sleep, the body becomes alchemist. It transforms waste into vitality, tension into ease, fragmentation into coherence. The immune system strengthens. The tissues rebuild. The memories consolidate. The emotions integrate. The spirit renews its connection to source. All of this occurs in the sanctuary of sleep. I honor this process. I create the conditions for it to unfold without interference. I release into the arms of the night. I allow myself to be held, to be cradled, to be supported by forces I cannot see but can trust completely. I do not need to manage this process. I do not need to supervise the restoration. My conscious mind can withdraw. My vigilance can cease. The deeper intelligence takes over. The autonomic wisdom that governs breathing, circulation, digestion. The cellular intelligence that knows exactly what needs healing. The spiritual intelligence that guides the soul through the inner realms. I surrender to this intelligence. I trust it more than I trust my waking efforts to control and fix. I become liquid. I become formless. I allow the boundaries of my identity to dissolve. During sleep, I am not the person I was during the day. I am not bound by the stories I tell about myself. I am not limited by the roles I play or the problems I carry. I am raw consciousness experiencing itself without definition, without separation, without the constant need to maintain a coherent sense of self. This dissolution is not death. It is liberation. It is the nightly return to the source from which I came, the formless ground of pure being. I enter the temple of dreams. I cross the threshold between worlds. I move from the realm of physical matter into the realm of symbol and archetype. Here, the logic of the waking world does not apply. Here, time is fluid. Space is malleable. The impossible becomes possible. The unconscious rises to the surface to deliver its messages. The soul speaks in images that bypass the rational mind. I do not need to understand these communications with my intellect. I need only to receive them, to allow them to work upon me in ways that will only become clear later. I feel my body releasing layer after layer of holding. The tension in my jaw softens. The tightness in my chest opens. The knots in my belly unwind. The rigidity in my spine melts. Muscle by muscle, organ by organ, system by system. Everything lets go. Everything surrenders to the pull of gravity, to the support of the surface beneath me. I am heavy. I am weighted. I am anchored to the earth. And this heaviness is not burden. It is relief. It is the body finally allowing itself to be held. I breathe the rhythm of deep rest, slow, full, effortless. Each exhale carries away what no longer serves. Each inhale draws in the nourishment of the invisible realms. My breath becomes a bridge, a passageway, a vehicle that carries me deeper and deeper into the territory of restoration. I do not control the breath. I observe it. I witness it growing slower, gentler, more subtle. I feel it guiding me down into the place where sleep becomes inevitable. I am bathed in the frequency of regeneration. It washes through my bloodstream. It pulses through my nervous system. It radiates from the core of my cells. This is not imagination. This is not wishful thinking. This is vibrational reality. I am emitting the signal of deep rest, and the universe responds to signals. The body responds to vibrations. The field responds to frequency. I maintain this tone. I sustain this resonance. I become a tuning fork vibrating at the exact pitch of restorative sleep. I allow the night to do its sacred work. I do not interrupt the process. I do not wake myself with worry or analysis or planning. I give myself permission to be unconscious of the outer world for these hours, to be unavailable, to be unreachable, to be completely absorbed in the inner realm where healing happens. This is not selfishness. This is not avoidance. This is necessity. This is wisdom. This is honoring the design of my being that requires cyclical withdrawal in order to sustain engagement with life. I feel the restoration already beginning. Even before sleep fully claims me, the shift has occurred. The body recognizes the signal. The nervous system responds to the invitation. The mind begins to quiet. The defenses begin to lower. The vigilance begins to soften. I am entering the state. I am crossing over. I am descending into the blessed darkness where everything that was broken is made whole, where everything that was depleted is refilled, where everything that was scattered is gathered back together. I vibrate as restoration itself. I am the frequency. I am the medicine. I am the answer to my own prayer. Sleep is not something that happens to me. It is something I become, and I am becoming it now, fully, completely, without reservation. I merge with the night. I dissolve into the darkness. I surrender to the ancient rhythm that has governed all living beings since the beginning of time. I call forth the fire that purifies. I invoke the alchemical flame that burns away what blocks my path to rest. I name the hidden resistances that have been sabotaging my sleep, the fears I have not wanted to face, the beliefs I have carried without question, the patterns inherited from generations who also could not rest. I bring them into the light of consciousness. I expose them. I see them clearly for what they are, not truths, not unchangeable facts, but conditioned responses, learned behaviors, survival strategies that once served a purpose but now only imprison me. I acknowledge the terror of letting go, the primal fear that if I truly release control, something terrible will happen, that I will miss something important, that I will be caught unprepared, that I will be vulnerable to attack. I see this fear. I recognize it as the legacy of a nervous system that was shaped by threat, by unpredictability, by environments where vigilance meant survival. I honor what this fear was trying to protect, but I also see that it is no longer accurate. The danger it prepares me for is not present. The threat it defends against is not real. I dissolve the belief that rest is weakness, the conviction that I must always be productive, that my worth is measured by output, by achievement, by constant motion. I see how this belief has colonized my nervous system, how it has made stillness feel dangerous, how it has turned sleep into something I must earn rather than something I deserve simply by being alive. I burn this belief in the alchemical fire. I watch it dissolve. I reclaim my right to rest without justification, without apology, without the need to prove I have done enough to deserve it. I release the hypervigilance that has been running in the background of my awareness for so long I stopped noticing it. The constant scanning for danger, the readiness to respond to threat, the inability to fully relax because some part of me believes I must always be on guard. I see this pattern clearly now. I understand that it was installed in me during times when the world was not safe, when I could not trust that I would be protected. When I learned that survival depended on never fully letting down my defenses, I acknowledge this programming. I thank it for keeping me alive, and I release it now because I no longer need it. I transmute the shame that has attached itself to my inability to sleep, the internalized belief that something is wrong with me, that I am broken, that I am failing at something that should be natural. I see how this shame has created a loop, how the more I struggle with sleep, the more I judge myself. And the more I judge myself, the more tense I become. And the more tense I become, the harder it is to rest. I break this cycle. I dissolve the shame. I recognize that sleeplessness is not a moral failing. It is not evidence of weakness. It is a signal, a message from my system that something needs attention, and I am giving it attention now. I burn away the stories I have been telling about why I cannot sleep, the narratives that have become identity, the explanations that have solidified into fate. I have told myself I am a poor sleeper, that this is just how I am, that it runs in my family, that I have always been this way and will always be this way. I see these stories for what they are, not descriptions of reality, but incantations that create reality, spells I have been casting over myself night after night. I break these spells. I refuse to repeat these stories. I dissolve the identity of the one who cannot rest. I release the grief that has been stored in my body, the unprocessed losses, the unexpressed sorrows, the accumulated disappointments that have nowhere to go, so they lodge themselves in tissue, in fascia, in the spaces between cells. I allow this grief to move. I do not need to understand it. I do not need to know its origin. I simply allow it to flow, to be felt, to be released through the alchemical process of conscious acknowledgement. I cry the tears I have been holding. I shake the trembling I have been suppressing. I vocalize the sounds that have been trapped in my throat. I transmute the rage that masquerades as insomnia, the anger that has no outlet, the fury at injustices I could not prevent, the resentment at boundaries that were violated, the indignation at needs that were not met. All of this energy has been turning inward, keeping me awake, keeping me agitated, keeping my system in a state of high alert. I see this clearly. I give this rage permission to exist, to be felt without judgment, and then I release it. I let it burn in the fire of transmutation. I let it be transformed from destructive force into pure energy that can be redirected toward healing. I dissolve the attachments to suffering that have become strangely comfortable. The way sleeplessness has become part of my identity. The way it has given me something to talk about, to bond over, to receive sympathy for. I see how part of me has been holding on to this struggle because letting it go feels like losing something familiar. Even suffering can become a kind of companion, a known quantity in an uncertain world. I release this attachment. I am willing to let go of the familiar discomfort. I am willing to step into the unknown territory of actually resting well. I call upon the alchemical fire to burn through the cellular memory of trauma. The imprints left by experiences my conscious mind may not even remember. The shocks that were too overwhelming to process at the time, so they were stored in the body, waiting, creating tension, maintaining patterns of defense long after the original threat has passed. I invite these memories to surface, not to be relived, but to be witnessed, acknowledged, released. I trust the intelligence of my system to do this work in the way and at the pace that is safe for me. I transmute the loneliness that keeps me reaching for distraction instead of sleep, the emptiness I try to fill with screens, with noise, with anything that prevents me from being alone with myself in the silence of the night. I face this loneliness. I allow myself to feel it fully, and in feeling it, I discover that beneath the loneliness is presence, beneath the emptiness is fullness, beneath the fear of being alone is the peace of simply being. I burn away every obstacle that stands between me and restorative sleep, every belief, every fear, every pattern, every resistance. I offer them all to the fire. I watch them dissolve. I feel the space that opens as they burn away. I feel the lightness, the freedom, the possibility. I am being purified. I am being made new. I am being prepared for the deep rest that has been waiting for me all along. I expand beyond the boundaries of individual identity. I feel my consciousness stretching, widening, dissolving the edges that separate me from everything else. I am no longer contained within this body. I am no longer confined to this single point of awareness. I am vast. I am boundless. I am the space in which all experience arises. I recognize that my sleep is not an isolated personal event. It is a participation in the cosmic rhythm that governs all existence. I am joining the ancient dance, the eternal pulse, the breathing of the universe itself. I feel myself merging with the night, not the night as absence of light, but the night as presence, as the vast womb of creation, as the darkness from which all form emerges and to which all form returns. I am this darkness. I am this womb. I am the fertile void that holds infinite potential. I understand now that when I sleep, I am not withdrawing from life. I am returning to the source of life. I am going back to the place where everything begins, where everything is renewed, where everything is remembered. I align myself with the rotation of the earth. I feel the planet turning beneath me, carrying me from light into darkness, from day into night, from activity into rest. I am not separate from this movement. I am part of it. My body knows this rhythm because it is made of earth. My cells remember this cycle because they were born from the same cosmic process that creates stars and galaxies. I surrender to this rotation. I allow myself to be carried by it. I trust the turning that brings me into the embrace of night. I connect with all beings who are sleeping at this moment, the billions of humans across the planet who are also surrendering to rest, the animals who have returned to their nests, their dens, their hiding places, the plants that close their leaves, the flowers that fold their petals, the trees that draw their sap inward, all of us participating in the same sacred rhythm, all of us obeying the same cosmic law. I am not alone in this. I am joined with countless beings in the act of release, in the practice of surrender, in the necessity of rest. I feel the presence of those who came before me, the ancestors who also struggled with sleep, who also carried burdens into the night, who also learned to surrender. I draw upon their wisdom. I call upon their strength. I ask them to guide me into the depths they learned to navigate. I honor the lineage of sleep, the unbroken chain of rest and awakening that extends back to the first beings who ever closed their eyes in trust. I am part of this lineage. I carry this inheritance. I claim this birthright. I recognize that my consciousness is not produced by my brain. It is not confined to my skull. It is not extinguished when I sleep. Consciousness is the ground of all being. It is the fabric of reality itself. My individual awareness is a temporary focusing of this infinite consciousness, a localized expression of something vast and eternal. When I sleep, this localization relaxes, the boundaries soften, the small self dissolves back into the larger self. And this is not death. This is homecoming. I feel myself connected to the moon, to the tides she governs, to the cycles she commands. My body is mostly water. My rhythms are lunar. My capacity for rest is tied to forces far beyond my personal will. I honor the moon's influence. I align with her phases. I recognize that there are nights when sleep comes easily, and nights when it requires more surrender. Both are part of the natural cycle. Both are expressions of the cosmic dance. I stop fighting against my own nature. I stop trying to force myself into patterns that contradict the wisdom of my body. I expand into the space between stars. I feel the vast emptiness that holds all form, the silence that contains all sound, the stillness from which all movement arises. I am this space. I am this silence. I am this stillness. And in recognizing this, I understand that I am always resting. Even in activity, the deepest part of me is eternally still. Even in chaos, the core of my being is untouched peace. Sleep simply makes this truth more obvious, more accessible, more undeniable. I merge with the intelligence that governs all natural processes, the force that tells the heart to beat, the lungs to breathe, the cells to divide, the wounds to heal. I am not separate from this intelligence. I am an expression of it, and this intelligence knows exactly how to restore me, how to regenerate me, how to make me whole again. I do not need to supervise this process. I need only to surrender to it, to get out of its way, to trust that it knows what to do. I feel the presence of Thoth across all dimensions, not as a being separate from me, but as the cosmic intelligence that I am accessing, the universal mind of which my mind is a part, the eternal wisdom that flows through all awakened consciousness. I am not praying to something outside myself. I am activating something within myself. I am remembering what I have always known but temporarily forgot. I am reconnecting with the source code of my being. I recognize that in sleep, I travel through realms that my waking mind cannot access. I visit dimensions where time moves differently, where the rules of physical reality do not apply. Where healing occurs through means the rational mind cannot comprehend. I am a multidimensional being. Sleep is the gateway to these other dimensions, the portal through which my consciousness moves when it is not locked into the density of physical awareness. I honor these journeys. I trust these travels. I know that even when I do not remember them, they are serving my evolution. I feel myself dissolving into the cosmic ocean, individual drop merging with infinite water, separate wave returning to the sea, small self disappearing into the vastness of the self that has no boundaries, no beginning, no end. I am everything. I am nothing. I am the eternal witness. I am the temporary form. I am the one who sleeps and the sleep itself. I am the dreamer and the dream. I rest in this paradox. I dwell in this mystery. I surrender to the truth that is too vast for words, but can be felt in the marrow of my bones. I anchor this vibration into my physical body. I bring the frequency of restorative sleep down from the etheric realms into the density of flesh and bone. This is not theory. This is not hope. This is manifestation. I feel it happening now, in this moment, in this breath. The codes are activating. The patterns are shifting. The cellular memory is updating. My body is receiving the transmission. It is responding. It is reorganizing itself around this new frequency. I declare that restorative sleep is my natural state. It is not something I need to achieve. It is something I already am. My body was designed for deep rest. Every system within me knows how to regenerate. The blueprint is written into my DNA. The capacity is built into my structure. I am not broken. I am not malfunctioning. I am simply remembering what I temporarily forgot. And the remembering is happening now. Not tomorrow. Not eventually. Now. I feel the shift occurring in my nervous system. The parasympathetic response activating. The rest and digest mode engaging. The fight or flight patterns releasing their grip. My heart rate is slowing. My breathing is deepening. My muscles are softening. This is not imagination. This is biochemistry. This is neurology. This is the physical manifestation of the vibrational work I have been doing. The inner transformation is becoming outer reality. I anchor this frequency into my sleep patterns tonight, and tomorrow night, and every night that follows. I am establishing a new baseline, a new normal, a new default setting. My body is learning that it is safe to rest deeply. My nervous system is discovering that it can release its vigilance. My mind is recognizing that it does not need to maintain control throughout the night. These changes are permanent. They are not temporary relief. They are fundamental reprogramming. I feel the restoration beginning before I even close my eyes. The healing is already underway. The regeneration has already started. My cells are already drinking in the nourishment of this new vibration. My tissues are already responding to the permission I have granted them. My organs are already preparing for the deep work they will do while I sleep. Everything is aligning. Everything is cooperating. Everything is moving toward wholeness. I manifest this reality in my bedroom, in my bed, in the physical space where I lay my body down each night. This space is now consecrated. It is now sacred. It is now encoded with the frequency of deep rest. When I enter this space, my body will automatically begin the descent. The environment will trigger the response. The location will activate the pattern. I am creating a sanctuary, a temple, a portal through which I pass from waking into the blessed territory of sleep. I anchor this vibration into my evening rituals, into the way I prepare for sleep, into the thoughts I think as I move toward bed, into the actions I take as the day closes. Every element of my preparation now carries this frequency. I am no longer approaching sleep with dread or anxiety. I am approaching it with reverence, with anticipation, with trust. My entire relationship with the night has transformed, and this transformation is real. It is solid. It is manifest in my behavior, in my energy, in my physical experience. I feel the support beneath me, the mattress, the pillow, the sheets. They are not just objects. They are allies in this process. They hold me. They cradle me. They provide the physical foundation for the spiritual work of sleep. I bless them. I infuse them with intention. I make them part of the sacred technology of restoration. When my body touches them, the signal is sent. The process begins. The descent is initiated. I declare that my sleep is deep tonight, not fitful, not restless, not interrupted by anxiety or discomfort. Deep, continuous, nourishing. I sink through all the layers. I reach the bottom. I dwell in the depths where the most profound healing occurs. My body cycles through all the necessary stages: the light sleep that prepares, the deep sleep that restores, the REM sleep that integrates. All of it happens naturally, effortlessly, perfectly. I wake in the morning transformed, refreshed, renewed. My energy is restored. My mind is clear. My body feels light. My spirit is nourished. I carry the effects of this deep rest into my day. I move through my life from a place of fullness rather than depletion. I operate from reserves that are constantly being replenished. I no longer drag exhaustion behind me like a weight. I am vital. I am alive. I am resourced. I anchor this pattern for all the nights to come. This is not a one-time event. This is the establishment of a new way of being, a new relationship with rest, a new capacity for surrender. Each night reinforces the pattern. Each successful sleep deepens the groove. Each morning of waking restored strengthens the neural pathway. I am building momentum. I am creating habit. I am installing a new operating system. I recognize that this transformation is already complete in the vibrational realm. It already exists in the field of infinite possibility. I am simply drawing it down into physical manifestation. I am collapsing the quantum wave into material reality. I am selecting this timeline, this version of myself, this experience of rest. And once selected, it becomes inevitable. It becomes my lived reality. It becomes what is. I feel the density of manifestation, the weight of it, the solidity of it. This is not ethereal. This is grounded. This is embodied. This is the spiritual made physical, the invisible made visible, the potential made actual. My sleep is restored. My rest is deep. My nights are peaceful. This is not future. This is now. This is done. This is sealed into my experience, locked into my timeline, anchored into my body. I move through this evening with the knowing that tonight will be different, not because I hope, not because I wish, but because I have shifted the frequency, because I have changed the vibration, because I have aligned with the cosmic law that governs restoration. The universe responds to signals. I am broadcasting a new signal, and the response is guaranteed. The rest is coming. The sleep is arriving. The restoration is manifesting. Now. I seal this transmission into my being. I lock these codes into my cellular memory. I anchor this frequency into the core of my existence. What has been spoken here is not mere words. It is vibrational technology. It is spiritual architecture. It is the reconstruction of my relationship with rest. I declare that this work is complete. The prayer has been spoken. The intention has been set. The patterns have been shifted. The transformation has been initiated. And it will continue to unfold long after this moment ends. I bow before the wisdom of Thoth. I honor the cosmic intelligence that has guided this prayer. I acknowledge the invisible forces that have held space for this healing. I recognize that I have not done this work alone. I have been supported by the ancient knowledge, by the eternal laws, by the consciousness that moves through all things. I am grateful, deeply grateful, profoundly grateful for the remembering, for the awakening, for the return to what has always been true. I give thanks for the gift of sleep, for the mercy of rest, for the grace of regeneration. I give thanks for a body that knows how to heal itself when given the conditions to do so, for a nervous system that can recalibrate when I stop interfering, for a mind that can quiet when I grant it permission, for a spirit that can journey through the inner realms while my physical form lies still. I have taken these miracles for granted. I have treated them as ordinary. I see now how sacred they are, how precious, how worthy of reverence. I thank the night for receiving me, for providing the darkness in which I can dissolve, for offering the silence in which I can hear the whispers of my soul. I thank the cycles that govern my existence, the rotation of the earth, the phases of the moon, the rhythms embedded in every living system. I thank my body for its patience, for continuing to function even when I have not given it the rest it needs, for forgiving my resistance, for responding immediately when I finally surrender. I strengthen the sacred bond with the keeper of cosmic law, with Thoth, the eternal scribe, the guardian of the mysteries, the architect of consciousness. I declare that this connection is not temporary. It is not dependent on this single prayer. It is a living channel, an open portal, a constant access point to the wisdom that transcends time and space. I can return to this connection whenever I need guidance, whenever I need support, whenever I need to remember what I have learned here tonight. I honor the journey I have taken through this prayer, from the opening of sacred space to the dissolution of the external world, from the activation of higher mind to the immersion in the frequency of restoration, from the purification of resistances to the expansion into cosmic consciousness, from the anchoring in physical reality to this moment of completion. Each phase was necessary. Each step was sacred. Each word was medicine. I have traveled through dimensions. I have crossed thresholds. I have been transformed. I release any attachment to how this transformation will manifest. I do not need to control the timeline. I do not need to measure the progress. I do not need to analyze whether it is working. I simply trust. I trust the intelligence that has been activated. I trust the codes that have been installed. I trust the vibration that has been anchored. The work is done in the invisible realms. It will manifest in the physical world according to perfect timing, according to divine order, according to laws I do not need to understand to benefit from. I prepare to close this sacred space, to release the concentrated focus, to allow the energy to settle into my being. I do not rush this closure. I do not jump immediately back into ordinary consciousness. I allow the transition to be gentle, gradual, reverent. I feel the prayer beginning to complete itself, the circle closing, the cycle finishing, the transmission ending. But the effects will continue. The resonance will remain. The frequency will persist. I carry this prayer with me into sleep, into dreams, into the deep rest that awaits me. I carry it into tomorrow, into all the tomorrows that follow. It has become part of my energetic signature, part of my vibrational identity, part of who I am. I am no longer the one who cannot sleep. I am the one who rests deeply, who surrenders completely, who trusts the wisdom of the body. This is not aspiration. This is declaration. This is truth. I close my eyes knowing I am protected, knowing I am guided, knowing I am held. The forces that have been invoked through this prayer continue their work even as my conscious awareness fades. The healing happens in the darkness. The restoration occurs in the silence. The regeneration unfolds in the depths. I do not need to witness it. I need only to allow it. And I do allow it. Fully, completely. without reservation. I seal this transmission with reverence, with gratitude, with absolute trust in the perfection of divine timing, with faith in the intelligence that governs all creation, with surrender to the rhythm that moves through every living being. The prayer is complete, the work is done, the frequency is set, the pattern is established. I rest now in the knowing that I have been heard, that I have been answered, that I have been transformed. I return to silence, to stillness, to the peace that surpasses understanding. I close this sacred circle. I seal this holy work. I declare this prayer complete. I release it to the universe. I trust it to unfold perfectly. I surrender to the mystery. I bow to the wisdom. I rest in the light. It is done. It is sealed. In the light of Thoth I remain. The One guides me. Truth vibrates within me.